What's going on, everyone? Mario here with Nickel Prince, and welcome to the Side Hustle series. In this series, I'm going to be covering different side hustles that I've tried, whether I failed or I've actually succeeded and made some money. I'll let you know in the video itself. Today, we're going to be covering photography. Photography was actually the first side hustle that I ever got started in. I started photography back when I was maybe 16 or 17. Back then, cameras were pretty much like this when it came to SLRs, or single lens reflex. Now, single lens reflex means pretty much that they have a lens inside, or a mirror. This little thing, this little mirror right there, whenever you take a picture, that's the sound that you hear that goes, it's that mirror flipping in and out, or flipping up and down. Now, there's three different types of cameras. There's your starters, which is going to be one like this. This is the Canon Rebel T6. These are kind of old. Maybe not old, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5-6 years old. This is the Canon EOS 6D. This is more of a professional camera. The mirror itself is actually a lot bigger. So this is a full frame. Now, the difference between a full frame and a cropped sensor, or the smaller mirror, is simply that you're going to get a much wider angle with a full frame. So the full frames are going to capture a lot more with the same lens. So if I take this lens and I put it in this one, then on this one, I'm going to get a wider angle than I would with this one. Now, one of the ways that people describe the full frame is pretty much by being the same size as 18mm film. Yeah, I still have a film camera. And for those of you that don't know, film is how we used to take pictures back in the day, okay? Know your history, respect your elders. So right now you have those two main ones, the cropped sensor and the full frame SLRs. Aside from that though, now you also have the mirrorless cameras. So mirrorless cameras are pretty much this in a much more compact version without that sensor that I showed you. Now that gives you tons of different benefits, but it also comes with an added price tag. At this point though, if you're looking to start photography, my suggestion to you is just go with a mirrorless, because you're going to get more bang for your buck. At the end of the day, most of them are going to be higher quality. And if you want to vlog, if you want to take videos, then these are actually really good when it comes to taking videos. Not to say that these aren't. These are absolutely amazing. So for videos, what I used to use was actually this one, which was a 6D, but setup would take a little bit longer. This one also has video, but it's zoomed in because of the crop sensor. But now actually what I use is a mirrorless Sony Alpha. I can't tell you the model number because I cannot remember it. It is going to be down in the description below though, if you want to check it out. That's pretty much what I use for the most part for all of my videos. But when I take pictures, I still go with my big boy right here, the 6D. I love it. How do you get started in photography? How did I get started? Well, the first thing I did was actually start researching the trade, learn the technical side of it, because right now most people are just going to put it on that little green A, that automatic button, and they're going to let the camera do all the work. And that does not work. You need to understand the settings to know why something's not working. So let's say it's extremely bright outside and you take pictures and you have one side of the picture that's extremely bright, or you have the background that's blurry but you don't want it to be blurry. You need to figure out how to adjust your settings to accommodate for that. And all of the settings work together to be able to come up with the desired effect. Pretty much the basic things that you need to understand are going to be aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. In simple terms, I guess the easiest way I could put this is shutter speed would be how fast the actual lens flips up and down. So the faster it flips up and down, the less light that it's going to let into the sensor, so the picture will come out darker. Now the aperture, or also known as the f-stop, what that does is it controls pretty much the blurriness of your background. But aside from that, it also controls how dark your entire picture is going to be. So the higher your aperture, the sharper everything is going to be, but the less light that your camera is going to let into the sensor, so the darker it's going to be. Now, have you ever seen when you look at a camera, you see the little hole inside it with the little shutters, and it's really, really tiny? When it's really, really, really tiny, that means you have a high aperture. It kind of contradicts itself. So the higher it is, the smaller the lens is going to look. The lower the aperture is, the more open or the wider the lens is going to look. So when it's smaller, that means it's really, really focusing. It's like when you're squinting your eyes. You're trying to focus on something and make it as clear as possible, but you're not letting as much light in. Now, the opposite is when it's at its most open. That's when it's at its least focused. So you're pretty much just focusing on one subject, whether that be me and having the background blurry, and that's going to have your lower aperture. Honestly, don't take my advice right now to start your photography business or to learn this technical part of it. Actually go on YouTube and look up technical videos that explain the entire thing to you, because that's going to do a lot better job. I'm just trying to give you more or less a generic overview, but that doesn't mean don't stop watching this video. Make sure you check out this video the entire way through, because I'm giving you my experience. And then aside from that, you have the ISO. Now the ISO is really just how much light is let into the sensor, or how bright your picture is going to be. Nothing else. The thing with the ISO is it can go really, really high, so that way you can have some really bright pictures in some really, really low lighting. But because of that, it makes the picture very grainy, which is actually called noise. So you're gonna hear people say that this picture has a lot of noise, which is gonna refer to all that little grain and all that little film grain that's gonna be around the picture, which is the ISO, because it's taking a picture in very low light, but it's letting as much light as it can in. It's absorbing as much light as it can. Now, the lower the ISO, the less light it's gonna let in, but the clearer the picture is going to be. Again, it's not super complicated. It's not super overly complicated. It's something that you do have to do a little bit of research on, because it's something that you have to understand. But trust me, it's worth learning about it, because if you don't understand your camera settings, if you don't understand how your camera works or how it absorbs light, you're not going to be able to get your desired effects. Anybody can take a picture of a lawnmower or a lawn chair in black and white and say, I'm a photographer, art, Picasso. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I used to do that and post them up on DeviantArt or on Flickr. Little by little, I started to learn the actual technicalities of the camera, and I started to realize my pictures suck. The pictures I was taking were really, really, really bad, until I started to understand lighting. Look up some videos on lighting and look up some videos on the technical side of camera settings. Now, aside from that, another thing that you need to know about shooting with a camera like this is that you're gonna have the option to shoot in JPEG or JPG and RAW. Never shoot JPG. Always shoot RAW. RAW files are pretty much gonna have literally just raw information embedded into it, and you can change absolutely everything without compromising the quality of the picture. Now, because of that, those files are super, super big. So you're gonna need a big memory card, but this day and age, who doesn't have a minimum of, like, I don't know, 30 gigs in a memory card? Now, when it comes to raw files, you are gonna need a software like Adobe Lightroom to be able to properly edit it. But trust me, if you're trying to be a photographer, the difference between raw and JPEGs is absolutely phenomenal. When you start to edit a JPEG file or a JPEG image, it really starts to lose quality. As you start to increase, let's say, the brightness and the contrast, you're going to start to get noise in the picture. You're going to start to get it to be a bit pixelized. Maybe it's going to start to get grainy. If you start to do the same edits to a raw file, that's not going to happen. All of the colors are going to change and everything's going to work together, and it's just going to look a lot deeper. So always shoot raw.
That's what she said.
Now, getting started in the actual business of photography and starting to get clients. So what I started doing was what everyone else started doing, and that was just taking pictures of absolutely anything and everything, trying to look artistic, taking a picture of, again, a lawn chair in black and white, taking a picture of a black and white flame on a lighter. It was cringy, to say the least, but it worked. You know, all of those little things actually made me start to realize, this is cheesy, this is not. This looks good, this looks bad. But you have to be real critical of your work. You have to really look at it and think, this is cool, or this sucks. Now, when it comes to photography, most people are going to get businesses through friends or through clients that are going to take pictures of themselves, families, or models. So if you want to get started in that, start offering free services. I know it sucks. I know having to do things for free sucks, but you need to build your portfolio. You need to start taking pictures of something to show that you're good at what you're doing, or are at least acceptable and worth your price range. Because that's another thing. You can't charge $1,000 if you're just starting taking pictures, right? Charge based on your experience. So for the most part, honestly, I do shoots for about $250 to $300. And what I used to do is I used to give them all of the pictures that I took, and I used to edit all of them. And then I quickly realized that that does not work, because that takes a ton of work. So what I started doing after that is I would charge the same, $250 to $300, depending on the client. And I would give them pretty much all of the files converted to JPEG. I would never give them the raw files, and I would edit 10 of them for them. I would let them choose which ones they want to edit. And for the most part, people are happy with that. Some of the photographers don't give you the extra files. They'll just give you the 10 that they edited, and that's it. So I try to give them a little bit extra, because honestly, it's not going to hurt me. Until you're actually getting people that are consistently contacting you, give them the freebies, give them the extra photos. It's fine. Try to get your name out there. So pretty much what I would do to get started is that I started offering free photo shoots to friends. I started doing it for free for my friends' kids or for my friends' brothers and sisters, because at the time I was 17 or 18. Most of my friends had brothers and sisters, not kids. And I would do couples photo shoots. So some of my friends wanted to do pictures with their significant other, so I would go and I would take pictures with them. I would do it at the beach, I would do it at a park, and little by little, I started to gain a small portfolio. I think I had maybe about 7 or 8 people that I had taken pictures of, until I finally started advertising my services to bring in real clients. Now, 7 or 8 is honestly more than enough. A lot of people aren't even going to ask you for references or anything like that. As long as they see like a handful of photos and they see that they like it and that it's their style, they'll contact you. And especially if you're recommended by somebody else, people are going to hit you up through word of mouth. Word of mouth is king for pretty much anything. Now, the way I started advertising my photography services was at the time through a few different methods. My primary way of doing things was Craigslist and Facebook. Now, Craigslist is still around. You can still use Craigslist to be able to advertise, but I don't know, I haven't used it in a while, and there's a lot better ways to do this, but maybe in certain parts of the country, in certain cities, Craigslist actually still works the way it's supposed to. Right now, from what I've seen, I don't know, I haven't used it in a while. It kind of became kind of weird and creepy. I mean, if Craigslist is an option for you, by all means, use it. I used to also use Facebook a lot. On Facebook, I would go on different groups and I would post my services. I would tell people, look, this is what I'm doing. These are my pictures. These are my samples. If you need anything, contact me. Of course, this isn't on just any group. These are groups that you can actually offer services in. Remember, if you start offering services in any Facebook group that's not dedicated to, let's say, the neighborhood or being able to offer your own services, you're probably going to get banned. So don't do that. Also, I would advertise a lot on 5 Miles or what was the other one? 5 Miles and OfferUp. Those two at the time were huge. I think they're still going around. I think people are still using them. I haven't used them in a while. 5 Miles and OfferUp were a huge way for me to start offering my services. Craigslist was absolutely huge as well. And also through Facebook, another thing that I did was have my own fan page. So back then we had fan pages where people would go follow you and they would pretty much just like your work. There's similar things now. It's not called a fan page anymore. I can't remember what it's called, but it's just those pages that you like at this point. Before it used to be become a fan. But now what you could do is just go on Instagram. Instagram is the place for photographers. That's where you're going to be able to upload all of your images. You can also go to TikTok. You can start uploading how you edit videos or how you edit your pictures, on TikTok. You can start to talk about the process. You can talk about your process. People can find you that way. There's still a lot of Facebook groups that are tailored to the neighborhood. So there's a lot of neighborhood groups on Facebook that are specific to either your zip code or your city or your state, where you can go advertise your services on there as well. There's also Craigslist Facebook groups that you can go to. There's apps like Nextdoor. Nextdoor is awesome because it gets you with people that are local to you or people that are around your zip code or a zip code that you want to target. Now, MoneyWise, like I said, I used to charge about $250 to $300 per shoot. And to this day, if somebody asks me, I'll still go about $300 and I'll still give them 10 edited photos. How much I've made in the past, I can't really say because it was a while ago and it's been quite some time. But right now, if I were to actually get back into it and start advertising my services a lot more, using TikTok or primarily Instagram and all that stuff, you could probably get a consistent flow of work. Obviously, that's with word of mouth, talking to people that you know, uploading your samples, uploading your pictures. But the way to get started would be to start off with your camera, learn the settings, make sure you have the right lenses, learn about the different types of lenses, learn about the technicalities of photography, learn a little bit about the lighting, because lighting is probably one of the most crucial things in photography that you need to master, that you need to know about. And just overall, get out there and start taking pictures of literally everything, no matter how cringe it's going to be. At the beginning, your work is always going to be cringe. If I look at the videos that I first recorded, the first 10, 20 that I did, cringe. That's me just watching them. So don't worry about it. Your early work is always going to suck unless you're really good or you're gifted at something. Start taking pictures of everything, offer free photo shoots to people, and start posting up your work on Instagram. Now, as far as software, you are going to need to know how to edit. You're going to need to know how to adjust the lighting, and remember, shooting raw is really going to help you out a lot when it comes to this. I actually started with Photoshop, and Photoshop does let you edit raw files, but I suggest going with Adobe Lightroom. Now, Lightroom, I think you can get by itself for just $10 a month, and it's a very powerful photography tool. When you upload your raw files to there, it makes it super easy to adjust literally anything from the color grading all the way to some of the focus and the brightness and contrast. And it makes it look phenomenal. Using Lightroom paired with raw files is absolutely amazing. I've always had great quality images come out from this. You are gonna have to learn the software. It's a few things that you're gonna have to learn to play with. You're gonna have to learn to play with shadows, highlights, midtones, different types of colors, your vibrancy, your hues, your sharpness. It's quite a bit to learn, but just like anything else, taking it little by little or step by step, day at a time, you're going to get to learn it. It's just actually staying dedicated to it and having to like it. That's probably the most important thing when it comes to photography. If you really do want to make it into a business, if you really do want to make it into your own side hustle, and you're interested in learning the technical aspect of it, which again, I highly suggest you do. If you actually like the trade, if you like taking pictures, it makes it a lot easier, especially learning the technical side of it. Again, it's not something that's overly complicated, but it is something that's going to take some dedication from you to be able to understand. Don't take this video as your how to start photography video, because this is not what it is in the least. I just wanted to give you a quick overview on photography itself and how I got started in it and how I made a couple bucks off of it. Some people might not start their photography business because they don't know where to start. So start with YouTube. Start with learning the technical side of it. Start with learning what a camera is, how it works, and how a lens works. Then start going to more advanced ways of doing things like using a flash, using external flashes, changing the different lights, and all of that stuff. Just simply looking up how to start photography on YouTube is gonna take you far beyond what this video can take you. Hopefully this video helped you actually make the decision on whether or not you want to start photography. I say go for it. It is kind of an expense because you have to buy your camera at first, but you don't have to go with the most expensive camera. A lot of the times don't even have to go with a mid-range camera. There's a lot of starter cameras that are fantastic to get started. So if you like this video, I know it was kind of all over the place. I didn't really structure it out. I just kind of started talking with it, and I just went with it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments below what you enjoyed about the video, if you want to start photography, and if there's anything else you want to learn. Also, let me know if there's any side hustles that you want me to cover. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, so that way you don't miss out on any future videos for the side hustle series or just for overall t-shirt printing and crafting. Huge thank you to everyone for watching. My name is Mario with Nego Prince. Catch you all next time. Peace.